What's going on, guys? So this morning I'm going on a little ruck march, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to be testing the FNG Ruck Trainer. Old Sean Buck Rogers at the FNG Academy sent me out one of these bad boys to try. He asked me if I'd give it an honest review and make a video for you guys about how I felt about it. And of course, I'm not going to let a battle buddy down. I told him I would absolutely give this thing a try, and I would be completely honest and frank about the review. And so that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna do a complete review of this Ruck Trainer from FNG Academy. I'm gonna give it a once over here, give it my first impressions, thoughts on it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take it for a ride and see how it feels. And through the entire process, let you know the things that I like and the things that I don't like about this Ruck Trainer. And I think we get started with some initial thoughts on this bad boy, so I'm gonna bring you a little closer for that. And also for doing this review, I was able to score something for you guys. If you do decide to get this Ruck Trainer after this review, I'll put the link to this Ruck Trainer in the description, and make sure that you use the code GRITTY10 to save yourself some money if you do decide to get this Ruck Trainer. So this is how I got it straight out of the box. It was already all the way assembled. I haven't adjusted this thing one bit. Everything's nice and tight. All the buckles are buckled up. And to me, full disclosure, I have not done any background research on this thing whatsoever to see what I was really getting into. I just sort of saw a picture of it and I was like, yeah, sure, let's send it. And I did it that way because I wanted to be able to receive this product and see if it was user-friendly enough where I could just take it out of the box and slap it on my back with minimal adjustment, minimal assembly, and be successful, right? And so far, it seems like that is the case. It seems like all the material here, all the straps, all the buckles, the way it's assembled, the way it's set up, all the hook and loop tape, it all seems to match up pretty much exactly to what the Mali 2, the US Army issue rucksack is. Everything seems to be more or less spot on, minus the color, obviously. This one came in coyote brown. I don't know if they offer different colors or not, but everything seems like it's gonna replicate the Mali 2 very well, which is gonna be really important if you're training up for something like, you know, Special Forces selection. You wanna train with the gear that you're gonna be able to use while you're there. And so I'm sure that's the idea they're going for here. They want to make sure that you are training appropriately and you're training with a Mali 2 rucksack or something that's very close to a Mali 2 rucksack, because that's what you're going to be using at SFAS. If I turn the thing around, this is where things get a little different than your traditional Mali 2, right? So there's no bag whatsoever. Instead, they replaced where you normally put your weight with this barbell plate attachment. It also comes with a clip, its own clip that goes with it. So the idea is you throw however much weight with your weight plates on the back of your Ruck Trainer and you ruck it with that. And you guys, if you've been following me for a while, should know by now that I've never been a big fan of putting ruck plates in your rucksack. There's two main reasons for that. The first reason is because I think you should train as you fight, right? So if you're going to something like SFAS, you're not gonna be putting weight plates in your rucksack to make sure the weight is right. You're gonna be having issued gear, and that's how you're gonna pack out your ruck. And so in my opinion, you should probably be training with the packing list that you know you're gonna be bringing to SFAS. Also, I think that when you're stuffing weight plates into your rucksack to use it for weight, they have a tendency to move around and shift on you. So your weight is not going to be distributed appropriately in your pack, which is just going to cause a whole bunch of additional problems and suffering for you. So I've just never really been a big fan of using weight plates as weight for your rucking. But this is a little different, right? This is going to be, obviously, when you stick a weight on here, it's going to be secured. And when you do slap a weight on here, from first look, it looks like it is where it should be, okay? It should be centered, high up, and close to the back. And honestly, it seems like what they're going for here is more or less convenience and just being able to train rucking in general and getting used to having the weight on your back. And then it also came with something else that I'm unfamiliar with, this 2-quart canteen attachment here at the bottom of the ruck. All right, and this is set up where it has its own strap system. and it is centered. If I take this strap apart here and I take the 2-quart away, you can see that it looks like it is meant to be here centered on the rucksack, because here's your securement strap right here, and it goes through this large securing strap right here, and I wouldn't be able to put that anywhere else down here. So to me, that says this should be right here. But to be honest, I think this kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong or not. It seems like I have everything tight down appropriately, but it seems like this is gonna shake a lot on me while I'm out there doing my rucking, especially if I decide to trot it out, which, you know, you guys know that's how I like to ruck a lot of times. So that might be an issue. I'm not really sure. They also included these additional pouches. All right, I've got this large equipment pouch here, and then a smaller equipment pouch here. I don't know if these pouches come standard issue with the Ruck Trainer system or not, or if they're just like additional items that you can buy. This pouch is pretty nice. I would use this pouch in real life for a multitude of things. All right, this is kind of like your admin pouch. You know, this is a great place to store your map or your battle board, your extra utility items, things like that, things that you need to keep secure, like your nods, stuff like that. Actually, I wonder if this is meant to be a nods pouch. It might be that, I'm not really sure, but this is something that they sent out as well. However, I don't know if you're supposed to attach this onto the ruck system, because I don't really see a way where that would be easy. So the only way that I see that you would attach this is if you took off your water source, because then I could fit it on the MOLLE webbing on the back, on either side or even on the center. But I won't be able to fit it on here, I don't think, or it doesn't seem appropriate anyway, with the 2-quart canteen attached. And also for me personally, and you guys would know this as well, is that I don't like to take off my ruck while I'm out there rucking if I don't have to. So sticking things on the back that hold items that I might want during my ruck march wouldn't really seem like a good idea for me personally. But to each his own. There's plenty of guys and gals out there that do store equipment like that and they have no problem with it. So, but that's just something that I'm noticing. All right, so how about we stick a plate on this thing and see how she feels. So maybe you're just starting off and you're just like, I've never even rucked before in my life, and I'm just gonna start with a 10-pound plate. All right, that seems to work. Or maybe you're just like super gung-ho and you decide, I've been rucking for some time, I really need to get used to the weight, I'm gonna stick a 45-pound plate on there. Let's see if that fits. All right, that fits, and that's pretty secure, I would say. Let's see if I can fit anything more than a 45-pound on there. At least a 45-pound bumper plate, right? That's what I'm using. All right, I can, and it looks like I max out, at least when I'm using bumper plates, at 55 pounds. You know, which is pretty good, guys. Honestly, you know, I'm not really sure what FNG Academy says, but I don't think you should be regularly training with anything more than around 45 pounds when you're putting that many miles under your feet and getting ready for SFAS. Occasionally throw some extra weight on yourself, because you will be carrying more weight than 45 pounds at times out there, especially if you're using this to train for something like Ranger School, right? But for the majority of time you're doing your training, you really should be only training with like 35 to 45 pounds. Otherwise, you're really gonna be instigating injury, and you're just gonna be looking at overtraining. You're not gonna be doing yourself any good. So with that in consideration, I would say that you have just enough room here, just the right amount of room here to make sure that you're getting the appropriate amount of weight in as you're doing your ruck training. See, and you could even like add some smaller plates on here, some little 5-pounders, some 2.5s, and you'd still get away with it. So that's pretty cool that you can do that. But I am not gonna be doing 55 pounds today. We're gonna be just sticking to the 45 pound, which is still heavier than I would normally ruck, or I wouldn't go any heavier than 45 pounds anyways, normally. But we're gonna use a 45-pound plate because I wanna test the straps, make sure everything holds up appropriately, and just see how this much weight situates on my back and if it feels right. So with minimal time and consideration, which again is what I'm going for here, I wanted to see how user-friendly this is. We've got this thing now set up appropriately from what I can tell, which seems easy enough. And now we're gonna throw it on our back and go for a walk. And then real quick, I almost forgot, I'm also going to fill up this 2-quart canteen right here all the way, because I want to see if it's as shaky as I'm thinking it will be when it's full of water. I think it will still be, but we might as well do our due diligence and really make sure, right? Another consideration, and I'm sure they have some sort of attachment or something that you can buy from FNG Academy, but having this 2-quart canteen on the back like this, like how am I supposed to access it without taking off my ruck? I guess I'll have to take off my ruck and grab the 2-quart when I have a moment, but to me, that just seems like extra work. But again, like I mentioned, I'm sure there's an attachment that you can get that will attach to this 2-quart canteen and basically be a camelback straw that will go from the top of the canteen over your shoulder, and you can just access it that way. And that's probably what they're going for. If they're doing SFAS, anything like they used to, they will absolutely have you carry your 2-quart canteen. So I'm sure that's what FNG Academy is doing here. They're making sure that you're getting used to that fact. All right, that is as tight as I'm gonna be able to get it. And again, you know, I'm just not too sure that is secured appropriately. I feel like it's gonna be moving around a lot. I mean, it's definitely gonna be moving around a lot if I'm being honest. But it could just be me. I could be getting something wrong here. Again, like I said, I wanted to be able to just take this out and gauge its user friendliness. And right now, this is concerning to me. But there might be some sort of way that I'm just missing and not being able to spot on my own to get this thing to be more secured. But hey, I guess we just give it a shot as is. And really guys, you know, I don't think the main purpose of this Ruck Trainer is to get you to focus on your water source. I think the main reason we're testing this out is really to see if how this whole system works here. All right guys, quick inject. This is actually taking place after I finished the entire review, but I wanted to make sure I put this in here. I was checking out the box one more time and I found this attachment, and I think it goes like this in here, right? And that should help out with the additional attachments that it comes with that I had mentioned before, okay? So take that all with a grain of salt. Here's an additional attachment that they throw in there for you, and this should help out with some of that webbing, securing the water source right here, and also adding some additional slots for some of those pouches that I was showing you before. All right, so my bad, didn't check out the box good enough. Hopefully that helps. Well, I would say everything feels pretty good. Feels like I'm wearing my Army issue rucksack, and the weight actually feels very, very evenly distributed, I'll be honest. All the straps fit just right. It feels like I'm wearing my Molly 2 rucksack right now, I would say. Could do with a few webbing retainers as you'd normally get with your rucksack. Usually there's a webbing retainer here so you can put down your excess chest strap. Same with the waist strap. Usually there's some webbing retainers here, but no big deal. I mean, you can get some rubber bands or just let them hang. It's not really a big deal. Let's do a 360 view real quick so you guys can see what it looks like. Yeah, I like the way the weight is sitting on my back right now. It definitely feels like the weight is where it should be, and it's sitting mostly pressing down on my hips, which is a good sign. It's not dragging on my shoulders. If you feel like the weight is dragging on your shoulders too much, that just means you have the weight packed out inappropriately, and I'm definitely not feeling that with this Ruck Trainer. All right, so now let's go for a walk. All right, so we got a good few miles in with this thing. Definitely enough to give it a good fair judgment. I would say it feels great. My shoulders don't hurt at all, and this is with a 45-pound plate with some additional water. I feel like this thing is definitely comfortable. It really does feel like I'm just rucking around with my rucksack that's packed out very well. I think the weight placement is like dead on. I don't think you're gonna get any better as far as weight placement goes than this Ruck Trainer. That is to say, if you didn't just pack out your own ruck appropriately from the start. But for the purpose of convenience, and for the purpose of making sure you're getting your weight right so that you're training right, this thing's dead on. I got some more miles to do today, but I'm doing a quick roll up with you guys so I can focus on that and make sure I do justice with this review. So I actually ended up getting almost 6 miles in with this already.
and it's a hot day. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I would say I really do like this. Now, there are some things that I'll just get over with right off the bat that I don't like about this. Obviously, the water source is a concern of mine, and me personally, you know, it was a concern right off the get-go because I am more of a Camelback guy myself. So just seeing the 2-quart canteen brings back some memories that I'd rather not remember. And I'm past those memories, all right? But for you guys out there that are trying to get through these challenges, or you're training up for these specific challenges, you might as well start getting used to seeing the 2-quart canteen, because you're gonna see it a lot in the future and you're just gonna have to deal with it. So the whole 2-quart canteen, honestly, is probably just a me problem. I also am not sure how I feel about not rucking around with the appropriate packing list that you know you're gonna be using for whatever you're training for that's rucking related, especially when it comes to SFAS. Now, you're not gonna always know what you need to carry during SFAS, but you're gonna be able to research the packing list and know how to pack out your ruck to meet those weight requirements and at least get a good roundabout idea. And when you do pack out your ruck like that, it kind of forces you to make sure that you have all your gear that you're gonna need before you show up. And those are my 2 biggest gripes here, which aren't very major gripes, okay? I'm gonna say that. Because I'm gonna say right now, the goods with this Ruck Trainer far outweigh the bads. First of all, I love the fact that it's more or less an exact replica of the Molly 2 rucksack that you get issued through the Army and that you're going to actually use at SFAS. This is the same stuff, guys. I mean, I don't know if it's the exact same material, but it feels like it is. All the straps feel exactly the same. I mean, it felt like I was wearing my Molly 2. And that was straight out of the box, you know, everything for my body type, right? It was set up exactly where it needs to be. I wouldn't change a thing on this ruck. Like I didn't feel any discomfort whatsoever when I was rucking this thing around. And I want to say I trotted it out for about 50% of the time. So I walked it out 50% of the time, and then I jogged it out 50% of the time. Felt great the entire time. I also like that you can attach different size weight plates to this thing. Okay, obviously I just threw on a big ass, oh shit. Obviously I did just put on a big ass 45-pound plate. And actually, on that note, that was actually good to see. So I dropped this pretty hard just now, right on the compromised portion of the frame itself, and it did not break. Thank God. But that's good, right? That means this thing's, there you go. There's another plus. This thing's pretty sturdy. It's going to take a beating. So that's good. I like that you can put different size plates on here and that you can stack the plates, because that's good for training with different weight setups. If you're somebody that's new to ruck marching and you're trying to get to that high weight standard, you can start off with a 10, maybe 20 pounds of weight on here, and there's plenty of room on the bar here to enable you to do that. The clip that it comes with, although I'm sure you can use any, you know, basic barbell clips, the clips that it comes with seems to be very sturdy. Everything seems to be set up very well. This all seems very sturdy. Doesn't look like it's going anywhere. It's bolted down, okay? So it's gonna hold the weight that you put on here, or at least it seems that way, which is obviously really good. Although, you know, if I wanted to counter that, I would say it doesn't do you much good to be able to use that ease. Like it's so easy to just stick a plate on here that you might not be getting that experience with packing out your ruck appropriately to make sure that that all the weight is distributed appropriately. And then if you're just training with this all the time, when it comes down to game day, you might not pack out your ruck right. And that's not the time that you want your weight to be all jacked up, okay, when it's actually time to get selected. But that's kind of a personal responsibility that would be on you at that point. So all in all, to wrap this up, the Ruck Trainer from FNG Academy, I think it's a go in my book. It's just something you got to be careful with. You don't want to over rely on this, but I think it's something good to have in your training arsenal. I think it's good because of the convenience. There are plenty of times when, especially if you're already in the Army, that your Molly 2 is already packed for something. Maybe you're going to the field. Maybe you jump a lot and it's already rigged up to be jumpable, things like that, and you don't want to have to, you know, undo all that just to pack it out for your training. This is a great way to just grab this real quick, slap some weight on it, and go for your training ruck. Great for convenience in that aspect, and also that the weight is absolutely where it should be as you're out there doing your ruck training. And that's like key, guys. That is the number one thing when you're out there training. When you're putting a whole bunch of miles on your back, you want the weight to be where it should be. And they definitely got that right. So again, if you're really trying to take your training to the next level as you're getting ready for SFAS, or really just any sort of event that's going to take a lot of ruck training to get ready for, I think this Ruck Trainer is a good option and is something that will be beneficial to you to have in your training inventory. Just make sure that you're not becoming reliant on this. I would say you'd want to use this no more than 50% of the time during your training, and you definitely want to make sure you're training with the actual equipment that you're actually going to use as well, and you want to be very familiar with that. So all in all, I recommend this Ruck Trainer. Just be careful with it, don't become over reliant on it, and you should be just fine, and actually you'll see some benefit from using this trainer. Thanks to old Buck Rogers for sending this out to me. I really appreciate the chance to give it a shot and review it. I've actually seen this thing around a couple of times with some of you guys out there getting ready for whatever you're getting ready for. And it's good to actually be able to put it through some trial myself. Again, if you do decide to get one of these, don't forget to use the code GRITTY10 to save yourself some money. You know, we're all about saving money on this channel, and I really do my best for you guys, especially when it comes to these reviews, to help you save some money. I always make sure to be 110% honest with all the gear reviews that I push out to you guys. And honestly, I get asked to review way more things than you guys see on this channel. I just turn down a lot of things because I just know it's crap right off the bat. But the Ruck Trainer from FNG Academy definitely fits the bill. I definitely think it's worth getting if you got the extra money and you got the extra motivation to push yourself through some extra pain, and you really just want to take that training to the next level to get ready for whatever you're getting ready for, especially if it's coming down to SFAS. You guys better make sure you're training appropriately if you're getting ready for SFAS. And on that note, don't forget to check out our fitness program at grittysoldier.com that will absolutely get you ready for selection, 110%, no doubt about it. Get that program, follow it to the T, put in the work, you'll be ready for SFAS. But yeah, guys, so that is the Ruck Trainer from FNG Academy. Do hope that review was useful for you guys. I am going to go ahead and strap this thing back on my back because I still got some miles to put in for my own training today. Got a few more miles to go, and I got to get back to my start point anyways. So besides that, I've got nothing else for you, and I'll see you on the next one.